Hey Mario, how are you doing?
Doing well. How are you doing? I
It's
see you're.
good to see you.
I see you're doing well. You're at your pool.
What a beautiful day it is here in Orlando, Florida.
It absolutely is. Wish I was there. Beautiful day here in Utah as well.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
It's nice and snowy there still.
It's not snowy today, but it should snow. And Tuesday and Wednesday it's supposed to snow. So believe it or not,
There you go.
I'm sure you'll be sending me pictures of your pool during those days.
Well, it looks like we have quite a few people joining the call,
All right.
and if you hear any bombs going off in the background right now, it's I'm not far from Universal Studios behind me here, and that's fireworks. They go off every evening at 10 p.m.
Awesome.
So it sounds like a war behind me right now, like I'm in a where bombs are just dropping everywhere.
Fireworks, fireworks. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you, Jef, for being with us this evening. You're at your pool. That looks like it's very nice. And thank you all for joining us. This is Mario Brown, your moderator for tonight. And I'm calling in from Highland, Utah. Welcome to the Sustained Prosperity System webcast. I'd like to appreciate everyone for coming out and getting the word out. Jef had his Facebook hacked, right? And so wasn't the norm getting the word out, so we appreciate all your help with that. We have a great call tonight. We're going to have some great training as well. Our speaker tonight will be industry leader Tom Chenault. We'll have him come on in the next 15, 20 minutes. But first, we're going to have a great training from Jef. And that is, Jef is going to teach us how to save yourself from drowning, right? And so for all those out there that are drowning or struggling with your business, that's what we're going to learn tonight from Jef. So a lot of great things to learn tonight. We have a great guest speaker. And so let's go ahead and get started. Jef, take it away.
Very good. Thank you, Mario, and it's a pleasure to be on the call with you. You're obviously one of my great friends and partners in the profession of network marketing. And you're always there by my side, and I really appreciate you very much. And yes, it's a beautiful day here in Orlando, Florida, and I said, I'm going to do the call tonight from outside and just enjoy the fresh air and hang out here next to the pool and do the call with all of our friends that are joining our webcast each week. Now that springtime is coming, it's just absolutely beautiful down here, and the raspberries are ripe, the blooms are popping out, birds are everywhere. We have a lake right here behind me, behind the pool, and there was otters that were playing in the little lake, and it's just absolutely just a gorgeous scenery right now. And so we're great to be home, and I've been in Asia for 10 days, in Japan and in Korea. It was cold there, and it's nice to be home in the warm sun and all the palm trees. So it's a pleasure to be on the call tonight with the Sustained Prosperity System. I have something to share with you, and shared this with some of my friends in Korea, and I wanted to share it with you as well. There's always people in your organization, that have a tendency of getting discouraged, and people who have a tendency of rising above that discouragement. Everybody that's in network marketing, if you've been in network marketing long enough, I tell you what's going to be a common denominator in that experience. You're going to have your rises and you're going to have your falls. You're going to have your rises and your falls. It's almost like the stock market. You have to understand how to keep it going and how to keep it moving up. And the way that you do that, you stay consistent with a system. You have top leaders that are very strong at bringing in organizations, and we call those good fishermen. People who can fish are great at fishing, but they're not always the best at keeping those fish in the boat. And we all know who those industry leaders are, those professionals that absolutely can come in and create some of the greatest explosions you can ever imagine. But to keep those people, to be able to nurture those people, it's important that you surround yourself with people who are strong where you are weak. I've always described a leader as someone who is who is able to recognize their own weaknesses. I recognize my weaknesses. Some things I'm extremely good at, and some things I'm not so good at. So you surround yourself with diversity. You surround yourself with people who are strong where you are weak. Now, an insecure leader is not going to do that. An insecure leader is going to surround themselves with people who are weak and weaker than they are, even in the areas that they are weak, because they don't want to be threatened. They don't want to feel like they have competition within their organization, and they are insecure because they think someone's going to have more strength than them, and that's just not the way network marketing works. If you're truly going to build a strong organization, you have to surround yourself with people who are stronger in areas where you are weak. Now, if you're strong as a recruiter, you're strong as someone who brings people into the team, and that's your gift, that's your strength, that's your charisma, your leadership ability, then you need to be good at structuring people around you that can facilitate the nurturing process so that you can help train those people for stability, train them for a good foundation so they don't go into what I call failure mode. And we all know, we've seen this in every team, in every company you can imagine. There's people who are good at bringing people in, but they're not good at keeping them because they're not good at nurturing. They're good at recruiting. Now, if you're a good recruiter, you're a dynamite recruiter, you have that superstar mentality and you just know how to bring people in. Well, it may be that you're just so good at that, you don't take time to be good at what causes your team to grow and duplicate. If you're that superstar leader that has the ability to create an explosion, it doesn't mean that you're duplicable. So that's what this system of the sustained prosperity system is all about. It teaches you how to implement a system that just because you may not be duplicable doesn't mean that you can't implement a system that's duplicable and helps your team grow and sustain the sustained prosperity system. That's what we're teaching you. Now, we'll give you a good example of how that works. I know of a company that is no longer in business. This was several years ago. They had a top leader, a phenomenal top leader. He was really good at bringing people into the company. We always referred to him as the fisherman. We always referred to him as someone who could bring the fish into the boat, but couldn't keep them in the boat. Could he build a large organization? Absolutely. He could take it straight up and it would go straight down. But he was very fortunate enough to have people around him that could see this. And they approached him and they said, listen, we all need to work together because obviously you're very good at bringing people in. But one thing that you're not good at is you're not good at creating stability for those people that you're bringing in, and they're joining your group and they can't duplicate you. So they're sitting back and saying, wow, I can't do what you do. There's no way that I can do what you do. So I'm going to give up and quit. Well, before that happened totally, some people did quit on his group. Some other leaders came in and said, let us help you. Let's work with your group. Let's work with your people, and let's nurture them and put them on a system and saturate them with a nurturing process so that they will not only stay in the organization, but we can get them on a system that will duplicate and cause them to organically grow and sustain. And so when that took place, that company went up to about $140, $160 million a year, and it stayed there for a while. So that was a good company. It lasted for a good while, and it was all because that group seen that this person was a great fisherman, but he was not good at keeping the fish in the boat. Now, I want to share with you that anyone who has a long-term history in network marketing, the one thing they're going to face is they're going to see people in their organization that are struggling. They're going to see people who have seen their team go up, and they're going to see people who have seen their team go down, and their volume go down, their check go down, their structure fall apart, their income get to a point where they started stressing. And let me tell you, when you're stressing, it's very difficult to build a team because people can see that. So when you're trying to recruit and you have stress written all over your face, stress written into your life, and you're sweating bullets, and the message that you're giving people is, hey, if you can do what I do, you have a free life. If you have the ability to do what I do and join my team, I'm going to show you how to be successful. I'm going to show you how to live that lifestyle of what we call network marketing. Well, how can you tell them that if you're sweating bullets? How can you tell them that if you're stressing out? They don't want to be you. They don't want your stress. They don't want to be stressed out like you and have to go out there and try to desperately build your organization. Desperation is not the way you build. If you're desperate and you're showing desperation, I want to tell you one of the greatest arts of network marketing is learning how not to show negative emotion when you're building your organization. So if you're taking notes tonight, I want you to write that down. I don't want you to show negative emotions when you're building your organization. You'll get there. You'll get to that success. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to show stress, and you don't want to show that desperation to the people that you're bringing into your business or attempting to bring into your business, because if you do, your success level is going to go down on your conversion rate of being able to convince people to join your team. Because your number one statement is you. If you can exemplify a lifestyle of success, a lifestyle of assurance that you're doing what you're supposed to do, and that you're giving people an opportunity to change their lives, and you're giving that to them with a sincere confidence that you're taking them in the right direction, what you're going to do is you're going to see a larger conversion rate because you are the example of what they are looking for. So if you're not giving them that example of what they want to see, then how can you expect them to want what you have? There was a illustration that I gave some people over in Korea the other day, and I wanted to share that with you. And it was a life experience that I had of my own. Now, that life experience was a very dramatic moment. In fact, we talked about this last week. If you listened to our conference last week, we talked about the impact of what happens in your life programs your subconscious mind that causes your conscious mind to actually react. So anything that you're thinking, anything that you're doing is based off of what you're programmed to think, programmed to feel, programmed to do. So if you're going to lift up your confidence level, you need to focus on building positive mindsets. And some things that happen in our life affect us. Those moments that we look back on, our memories we look back on that become moments in our life have been what we call highly impacted our subconscious. If moments that have impacted our subconscious mind cause us to think the way we do today. So look back on your life. What causes you to think like you do? There was a moment in my life that impacted me. Me and two of my best friends, we were floating down the river, a river that I had floated down all my childhood years, all the way through my teenage years, even in my college years. I'd floated down this river so many times on inner tubes, just regular old black tubes. We'd blow them up, we'd take them to the service station, and we'd put air in these tubes. We'd go down to the river, and we'd get into the river, and we'd float from one bridge to the next. It'd take about 4 hours from one bridge to the next bridge, and it was a fun day. We had such great times on that river. Well, this particular day, what a beautiful day it was. We got in the river. We knew there were going to be certain rapids that we'd go through. We could all swim very well. The other two guys had life jackets on, and I didn't. I had been on this river all my life. I'd never wore a life jacket. I didn't think I ever needed one. Well, it wasn't raining. It was blue skies. However, upstream, way upstream from us, apparently there had come a large storm, and water was coming from the sky in an area of the country we didn't know that it was raining. It was beautiful where we were, but upstream it was raining very, very hard. It caused some flash flooding to take place, and before we knew it, about an hour into our 4-hour floating trip, the waters of that river rose probably 20, 25 feet higher than it normally was. It was the largest waves I had ever seen on that river, and we were caught up in it, and we were on tubes. And I can remember that we were desperate. We were going through a challenge, even as good as swimmers as we were. And it was amazing. The only time that I could see my two buddies is when we were all at tops of waves, because if one of us was at the bottom of the wave and one is at the top of the wave, we couldn't see each other. We were trying to keep our eyes on each other. We couldn't get out of the river because the waves were so strong and the current was so strong. It was pushing us down the river very, very fast. And it was the worst situation that I had ever been in my entire life. And we had gotten to this place in the river where there was an old dam, an old reservoir that was built probably 100 years before. And it was made out of wood and rocks. And it was usually an area where there was some good rapids. But when we had gotten to that location in the river, it was probably the most dangerous moment I had been in my life. I can remember every one of us were hitting trees that were floating down the river, and all of our tubes burst at one time. My tube bursted, their tubes burst. They were floating with their life jackets, and I did not have a life jacket on, and the current, the pressure pushed me down to the bottom of the river. It caught me a certain way, and it just sucked me down like a whirlpool, and it pulled me down to the bottom of the river. I was probably 30 feet below the water, and I was in the rocks, and I couldn't move. I was stuck. I was not moving. And I could remember the rocks were cutting me and scratching me, and I was reaching through these rocks and trying to pull my way through these rocks and hopefully get to a place where the current would pull me further so I could break loose. And finally I did. And I was going so fast, and I was hitting rocks, and I was hitting other debris. And finally I got to a certain point where I had no way of holding my breath any longer, and my breath came out. And for anyone who knows swimming at all, you know that if you don't have breath inside of you, you have no way of floating to the top. You have no way of swimming to the top. It's very difficult because your body has no air in it. There's no way that your air in your body is going to help you because you have none. There's no oxygen there. And everyone's heard about these stories that when you get to a certain point and you're about to die, your whole life flashes before your eyes. And it did. It was amazing. It was just exactly like that. I had all these scenes that were flashing in my mind and my memory. And I guess it's because I was out of oxygen and I was desperate. And it was just all these pictures of family members and things were placed in my head. All I could think about was my family. All I could think about was those people that I loved and that loved me. And here I was about to die. I literally was right at the moment of drowning. And I said, I tried to go up. I couldn't go up. I couldn't reach the top of the water. So the only thing I could do was go down and see if I could spring off the bottom of the river or find a rock that I could crawl on and spring off of it and try to shoot my way to the surface. That's all I could think about. And that's exactly what I did. I went down, and then my feet caught a big rock. And when they did, I pushed off, and my head came about this far out of the water, and I got some air. I finally got some air, and when I did, it gave me the ability to be able to live. I was able to survive because I then had enough air in my body. I could move from that point to try to swim to an edge somewhere and finally get out of that turbulence. Now, I want to relate this to you. If you have found yourself in these moments in time in your profession where sometimes you feel like everything is just going in such a direction you don't know how to handle it, and you feel like everything is over, what do? You fight. You fight for survival. You fight for your life. You get to the point where sometimes you feel like, well, I can't go up. Go down. Grab hold. Get a foundation and get a hold of life and make sure you push your way up, because if you don't, there's only one other option, and that's die. You can't die. You can't give up. You have to push off those rocks that are scratching you to death. You have to push away from those things that are trying to destroy you. And sometimes the very things that are out there to destroy you are what gives you the energy or gives you the ability to push off of to take you to the top. I found that the greatest leaders in network marketing are those who have gone through struggles, those who have made it through those struggles and have made it to the top because of their experience through those struggles. I was looking at an article in Harvard Business Review just recently, and one of the greatest things that was said in that article was, if you want to put a panel together to strategize the future of any company, don't pick people who have just had success, but pick people who have failed. Pick people who have fallen on their face. Pick people who have struggled and then made it. Those are the people you can learn from. Those are the people that can give you guidance. Those are the people who can help take you to the top with their advice. I can tell you, I've been one of those people that I put my life on the line financially, physically, every day for my team, and I do everything I possibly can to make things happen. I take risks. I do it on purpose because I know that those people who play it safe are the people who never get there. The people who are not willing to do everything they can and willing to make mistakes. Someone told me just recently, said, well, I'm afraid to do this, I'm afraid to mess up. I want you to mess up. I want you to make mistakes. Because if you're making mistakes, that means you're doing something. If you're not making mistakes, that means you're being too careful and you're not being the leader you need to be. You will never be the leader you need to be if you're not willing to mess up. So I hope this lesson today has been an encouragement to some of you to make it through those turbulent times that you may go through in your company, in your time, in your history in network marketing. Because if you are, and you're willing to fight through it, one of the things that's going to mold you and shape you is exactly that. I have never seen a leader yet ever make it to the top and stay at the top and be able to repeat it over and over unless they have the resilience of being able to make it through a struggle. But don't show the struggle in your face. Show it in your heart so that you can show people that you're a conqueror of the struggle and not someone who has been a failure and you make pride of being the failure and you give up and you're not going to win because of your mindset of I'm down. I can't do this. Oh, this is too hard. No, it's not easy winning. It's not easy being strong. But if you will fight, I guarantee you, you will make it to the top. Now, we have a guest tonight, and I can't wait to introduce this guest. This is one of my favorite people in the world. Tom Chenault is our featured guest tonight, and he's coming to us from a remote location. He's at a conference, and he's pulled away from this conference, and just to be able to visit our group tonight. And these are people that are listening in, Tom, from different parts of the world, different companies and what have you. We don't even talk about companies on this. It's all about making people better at who they are. And Tom Chenault has the Tom Chenault radio show, which is one of the longest running network marketing broadcasts, period, in our profession. And it's designed solely just to help people through the experiences of others, kind of like what we're doing right now on the Sustained Prosperity System call, as we train on the Sustained Prosperity System and we bring in our featured guest. And Tom has really shown a resilience. This guy is a fighter. And you know one of the ways that he fights from the heart, because this guy has a heart bigger than a mountain. He cares about people. He cares about this profession, about making it better. And integrity starts at the top. You've heard me say this, and it goes all the way to the bottom. And this guy is at the top of his company, making the big checks, and that's great. But you know what is more important to me about this guy? Tom Chenault, he has integrity. He has honesty. He has solidity of doing things right. And because of that, that trickles down all the way through his organization. He has created probably one of the most positive organizations in our profession, and I appreciate him and his experience and what he has brought to our profession. It's amazing what this man has done. Tom Chenault, it's so good to have you as our featured guest today, and I tell you what, you're looking great.
It's great to be on your show. I am in a conference, and I was sitting in the front row and stepping out and coming here. I mean, people are looking at me like I'm crazy, but, you know, I double booked. And it was so funny because I told them all I double booked. And you just have to deal with the fact that I double booked. And I said, that's the problem. I double booked, and we're just going to have to live with it. So I got up, I walked in here, and I'm going to do this thing with you, and I'm going to give it everything I've got because I said I would. And there are so many things in life, in this business especially, where you really don't want to do it. You don't. I mean, you don't want to get up, and the owners of the company are sitting up there speaking on the stage, and I got up and walked out. And because I said I would. And if I can give anybody a tip, it's just live inside of what you said you were going to do, even if you don't feel like doing it. And that's all it takes. And you do it every day like that, Jef, and I end up looking like you, acting like you. I'm just delighted to be sharing a screen with an icon like you.
Oh, my goodness. Tom, I'm going to drill you with a couple of questions here, and I won't keep you forever because I know you're in a conference.
Take your time, baby.
But I'm going to drill you with a couple of questions because you have so much to offer. And these people here that are listening to this conference, you know, I could keep you on for like 12 hours and you would just be getting started with what you know. But I'm going to ask you some specific questions based on the subject we have today. There's a lot of people in network marketing. They join, they don't really have the system in place, maybe in their company, or they don't have a lot of wherewithal. They don't have any kind of back history on what they're new to network marketing. And when they join, they're excited. They join off of emotion, and they fail. They fail because they're orphans. And we talk to orphans on this call. We talk to orphans because we want to cancel the word orphans out when it comes to network marketing. We want to make sure they have nurturing, training, and the ability to succeed. But people do struggle, don't they? Because they don't have the right kind of training or the right kind of nurturing when they join a company, correct?
Well, let's face it, your next door neighbor called you on the phone and said, this is the best deal I've ever seen. It's got the best comp plan and it's got the best products, and you have to join with me. So you go join, and then 5 minutes later, you realize your next door neighbor has no idea what he's doing either, and now you're both dead. So what everybody does is they go broke enthusiastically and take people with them. And what you have to do is not that. And by the way, Jef did not tell me any of the questions he's asking me. So this is kind of like stump the chump. So if I don't look like I know the answer to the question, it's because I don't. But I happen to know the answer to this one, and it's what I did. I entered a company like that, and I realized no one had a clue. And I just kept going until I found the guy with the lifestyle and the check that I wanted. And I said, you know what? I love you guys. You're my friends, but we're reinventing the wheel. I'm going to do what that guy's doing because I want what he's got, so I'm going to do what he does. So I plugged into the system, the prosperity system, and once I plugged in and I started doing what that guy did, I started getting what he got.
Very good. So being an innovator is not always the best in this type of business because it's been around for a long time. So there's no point in reinventing the wheel. You don't want to be the innovator. You want to be the imitator. It's like, why would I want to be the Diners Club card? Who has a Diners Club card in their wallet anymore? I mean, you know, I don't. I still yet to find anyone who carries a Diners Club card, and they're on every door of every restaurant and every service station there is. It was the innovator. But I'd a lot rather be the American Express or the Visa or the MasterCard that's the imitator, wouldn't you?
I'm 100% right. And a confused mind does nothing. So as a result of that, everything that you add to the system with your brilliant idea is probably a great addition, but it also adds confusion. So I had a really smart mentor a long time ago that just told me, he said, here's the benchmark. As soon as you're making $10,000 a month, Tom, with that plan you've got, then you can put it into my system. But until then, you can't do anything. And I never made it to 10 grand because what my idea was no good. And until I acquiesced to what that guy was doing and did it exactly what he did without adding anything, was I successful, because it was duplicatable. And this business is about being duplicatable at the lowest common denominator. And I was the lowest common denominator.
You know, some people are happy making it to 5 figures a month. And not everyone can make it to 6 figures a month like you and others. But, you know, 6 figures a month is that dream check. And, you know, and 5 figures a month is a dream check for others. I think one of the things that we miss a lot of times is some of us have made that 6-figure a month income, but we forget to train people how to make it to the 5-figure a month income. We forget that those checks that are solid $4 and $5 and $8 and $10 and $12 and $15,000 a month make us who we are. They get us to where we need to go. And we try to talk too much. We try to brag too much. We try to showboat too much. And we're seeing that a lot in our industry, where people are just flamboyantly putting themselves out there, and these egos that are just eating people alive. And one of the things that I notice about you, Tom, is you don't build on ego. You build on compassion for your team and compassion for our profession. And why do you do that? Why don't you build with an ego? You obviously have that success. You have that background, but I see you build with humility. And that, to me, is one of the most impressive things that I see about you. And Tom is frozen in time on the internet right now, and I'm not sure if he can respond. There you are.
How'd I do it? Can you hear me now, Jef?
I can hear you now.
All right. So I'm in a hotel, so I can't rely on their internet. But I've been sober for 10,000 days.
Wow.
Which is 27 and a half years. And every day I go to a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I go there for 2 reasons. I go there to see those people and help those people. It's not like I'm thinking about drinking. I'm trying to help that next alcoholic walk in the door. And what it also does is it lets me realize that I'm not nearly as hip, slick, and cool as my paycheck's trying to tell me I am. And I love that about my life. I walk there every morning. It takes me half an hour to walk over there or half an hour to walk home. And I really get to check in with God and my integrity and why I'm really doing this. And over and above that, I'm not trying to even make people make $10,000 a month. I know what $1,000 a month does to literally everybody in this country. Everybody I know, $1,000 a month will make a difference in their budget. So I'm not trying to create millionaires. I believe those people are going to take care of themselves. I'm trying to create thousandaires, and I'm trying to create 1,000,000 thousandaires. Because I'm telling you, if I can get 1,000,000 thousandaires, I'm going to do okay. And where I'm going to do okay is, obviously with my own income. But if I create that 1,000,000 thousandaires, I also know that the big guy up above is going to smile at me and say, Tom, you did your job because you took care of your people. Because I'm not that guy. I'm looking at your wristwatch, and I'm looking at your ring, and I'm looking at all that stuff on the screen right now. And I'd like to show you my wedding ring because it's kind of indicative of my life. I'm getting so fat I can't even get it off my finger. But so look at it. It's so out of round and so bad. I bought this for $35, and it's got the AA symbol on it. And it's just a piece of metal that is so bad. But it's kind of like me. I'm way out of round. I'm all messed up and dinged up and battered. And I need to remember that every day because people, there's 500 people in that room next door that when I walk out on that stage, they're going to be screaming my name and telling me how great I am. And it is going to embarrass the heck out of me. And it's not true. I mean, I'm just them with an absolute work ethic. And I need to remember that every day because without them, I'm nothing. Without you, I'm nothing. And I just got to remember that I need people more than people need me. And I got to stay humble. I got to stay honest. I've got to stay in integrity. And I've got to stay in the lane. And that's what I try to do.
Tom, you absolutely impress all of us. And this video is going to be sent out to thousands of people. And I want to say it's probably going to be even translated into Korean and Japanese and Spanish and everything else. If there's anything you could tell people about following a system, following a guideline, and listening to their mentors. My first mentor was Jim Rohn, and I look back and I just value all the things he taught me and some of the things that John Maxwell taught me. Me and John Maxwell used to go around back in the 80s and speak together on the stage. It was We go way back. And, you know, I was just a country boy, grew up on a chicken farm, and I still am. I'm still a country boy, grew up on a chicken farm. I value that moment where I can go up on my property in North Carolina and get on a John Deere tractor and spend 8 hours cutting grass and weeds and briars, and I feel more refreshed getting off that tractor than I do going to an event. I really do enjoy the simple life. I enjoy getting away. And you love that simplicity of being real. Being real is important, isn't it? Being real is important. If you could tell people the importance of being real, the importance of having a mentor, the importance of a system, how does that all fit in to being successful in network marketing instead of building with, let me fake it till I make it concept with an ego?
Okay, so here's the deal. I've been in this business for 25 years. And I spent so many years trying to be like Jef Welch or be like all these hot shots that I couldn't be like. And the tipping point for Tom Chenault when I finally decided to be the best possible Tom Chenault and nothing else. I can't be any one of you cool guys. I've got to be the best me that I can. And that means I had to learn to peel back the onion and fall in love with myself and make you deal with the fact that who I am is who I am. And I'm not changing who I am for anybody because I can't. I just got to be the best me that I can. And that was huge for me, Jef, because all of a sudden I started owning my power instead of trying to be like all these eloquent people that are better than me at what they do. All of a sudden I'm standing up there and I'm telling stories and I'm just being me, and people started falling in love with me instead of running for their lives. And I realized that that was the key. That doesn't mean I don't learn the systems. I study this business as hard as anybody because I want to know the fundamentals. But the heart part, the heart, H-E-A-R-T, not the hard part, the heart part, the part where I tell people love like crazy, then love more. And lead with your heart, not your brain. That's the key to this thing. Think about this for a second. How long has it been, Jef Welch, since anybody looked at your report card? It's been a long time. 40 years? 30 years? I don't know. Long time. No, we don't even like smart people. We like nice people. So all of a sudden I stopped trying to be smart and I started trying to be nice, and people started wanting to be around me, and it was like a miracle happened. I was the dumbest guy in the room, which I was, but I also had people with me because I wasn't being a full of bullet anymore. So I will tell you the secret to the whole thing is be authentic to a fault. That's what I would say is the whole secret to my success.
Wow. Well, Tom, I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate having you on the call tonight and sharing with everyone, because there's no one that I can tell you that I respect more than you as far as, you know, your genuineness and your compassion for people in and outside of your company. And the people inside of your company absolutely think that you hung the moon. I mean, it's just amazing. And it's because of what you just said. It's not about what we know. It's about, instead of us saying it's not about what we know, it's about who we know. It should be, it's not about what we know. It's about how nice we are. Yeah. I like that. I like that. That's a good point, because, you know, people feel like when they join a network marketing company, they feel like they've joined a business, but what they've really joined is a country club of awesomeness, you know? And if they join that club, if they join that country club of network marketing, whatever the name of that company is, and they feel like they belong, that is more important than anything else. Let's face it, there's a lot of people in our organizations that just are on auto ship. They'll never build their business. It's okay. And it's like a church. The majority of people who go to a church are just sitting in the pews every week, and that's okay. That's okay. We need those people too. We need those people in our organization, because this is the thing. We're changing lives, not just because of finances, not just because of products, but we're giving people an environment to belong. We miss that part. They feel accepted. They're in an environment that they can come to meetings and people will talk to them. People will embrace them. People will treat them like they're important, and they go to another location or another location, and they're the person over in the corner sipping on a drink because no one will talk to them. If they join a network marketing company, people make them feel special. And you do that with your team.
So I want to say one more thing, because somebody asked me a few days ago what my secret was and how they could have what I've got. And I boiled it down into 3 words. I don't care who you are. If you show up for everybody in your life, especially the people that you don't like, with 3 words, passion, compassion, and integrity, you can't lose. So those 3 words, I want to be, when I grow up, those 3 words. I want to be passion, I want to be compassion, and I want to be integrity. I get those solved, it's on my gravestone. I go wherever I'm going to go, but I'm going to know I gave it my best shot living my life with those 3 words, Jeff.
I love it. Passion, compassion, and integrity.
Yeah.
That sums up exactly who you are. I guarantee it. That sums up exactly who you are. Well, those who are on this call, you know that you're listening to one of the legends in this profession. And listen to what he's saying. If you build your business with passion, compassion, and integrity, you're already on your way to the top. Already. Because people will want to be around you. That's exactly the way it is. And Tom, thank you so much. I know you need to get back to the conference, and I just really appreciate you more than you know. Thank you.
I love you, Jef Welch. Thanks for letting me be a part of the night. We'll see you later.
All right, my friend.
Bye-bye.
All right. Now, as we get into the rest of the training here, I want you to know that that Mario and I have a true passion to help people become better at who they are. That's exactly what Tom said tonight. It's not important to be someone else. It's important to be a best you that you can be. And Mario, if you will come back on the screen here with us, I want to collaborate back and forth with you here toward the end of our call here, and I want us to collaborate some thoughts. One of the things that people miss is they do try to be someone else. They try to be a Mario Brown, or they try to be a Tom Chenault, or they try to be a Jordan Nadler, or they try to be a Randy Gage, or they try to be a Eric Warrior. They try to be one of these other superstars that's in the industry. That's not how to get to where you need to be. The way that you need to become the best network marketer in this profession is to make yourself the best you that you can be. Recognize your weaknesses. We talked about this just a moment ago. We need to recognize our weaknesses and surround ourselves with people who are stronger where we are weak. Now, this is a challenge for people because that's a test. Because you know most people are insecure in the areas where they're weak. And the last thing that most insecure people want is to place someone around them that's strong in an area where they're insecure, which is their weakness. Mario, have you ever seen anyone like this, and has it really battled their pathway to success when they're in that zone of just really not wanting strong leaders around them where they're weak?
Yeah, most definitely. You know, that usually comes to play when there's an ego involved. But if you're teachable and you look for knowledge and you attend the seminars and you attend the webcasts, there's a lot to be learned. Hey, I'm taking a lot of notes tonight, for example, and I've learned so many things. And I love Tom's energy. I love his humility, you know, and there's no doubt why he's the #1 person in his company. You know,
Exactly.
So things like that. And if I can take a second and just share some of the powerful things that I've learned tonight, you know, for example, he said, a confused mind does nothing, right? And I think that ties in perfectly to the sustained prosperity system, where we're talking about, you know, in each step, steps 1 through 15, exactly what you need to do in order to build your business and exactly how you can duplicate yourself.
Right.
That's another thing that Tom talked about tonight. Be duplicable at the lowest common denominator, you know? And so once again, it ties in perfectly. Duplicate your business, you know, learn how to do the business, follow the steps, follow the system, and duplicate that, you know?
So if someone's confused, obviously they're not secure. Because the more that they're not confused, the more secure they are and the more confidence they have. And therefore, the better they can present themselves as being confident and assured of where they're going. That's where this sustained prosperity does. It takes them out of that insecurity zone. The worst enemy that people have in network marketing is being insecure. And we see this. Mario, you've been corporate for how many years before you went in the field with me and helping me in the field? How many years were you corporate?
20 years, Jef.
20 years as a corporate person in a network marketing business. He's been everything from president of North America to you name it, and some of the largest companies in our industry. Now, he has seen it all. Mario has seen top leaders. That's been his assignment, to work with top leaders, obviously, in each of the companies he's been with. And those top leaders in those companies, even though some of those top leaders have driven some strong checks, I know you've seen some very high insecure situations there, right? You've seen people work off ego, and you've seen people build large teams and destroy the very work that they've created just because of their egos created by the insecurity that they have built with, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've found that those leaders, sooner or later, don't last. They don't last because people find out, the group, or the people that are following them saw them a certain way. And, like, for example, Tom talked about 3 words: passion, compassion, and integrity. And I've worked with many different top leaders from many different companies, and I've seen the good, the bad, and there's every company has all types. But when you don't have those things, the passion, compassion, integrity, or you're not being genuine, or you're not there to fight for your group, all these things play a factor in your stability when building the business. And so I've seen top leaders lack that, or they try to fake it until you make it, which you talked about, and then that goes away, or they're discovered.
What kind of effect does it have on their organization? They have people around them that depend on them. And if a leader is working within that category, and they drive it real strong to the top, and then all of a sudden it starts crumbling because of their ego situation, what usually is the red flag that you can see within that organization? Because there's some people here that are listening on this call, I'm sure, that maybe they have an ego that's out of check. Maybe they're not where they need to be emotionally, psychologically, and maybe this is a call that's going to wake them up. And maybe you can say something to someone here tonight that is working off of ego, working off of that insecurity that just doesn't have the right mentality. What could you tell that egotistical person right now? The person that is probably a good person,
right?
But they're covering up their insecurity with an overly abundant security mask by
I would say be genuine. Be genuine and be there for your people, because they will know if your heart is in it. They will know if you care about them. And, as we get bigger and we grow groups here in our own country and outside the country, these people know if you're there for them. Obviously you can't be everywhere at once, but like you, Jef, you have large groups in other countries, and I'm growing that as well in Latin America. These people know that you're there for them, and so that's what they want. They want to be successful, and to be successful, they need someone that they can rely on, and they need a system, and that's why it's perfect, and that's why, our group is following the Sustained Prosperity System and having great success with that, because it tells them exactly what they need to do.
One of the things I always do when I'm in front of an organization, in front of a crowd, is I thank them. I thank them because I could not be who I am or do what I do without them. And I wouldn't be able to have stayed in network marketing and be a network marketer today if my team had not been able to create volume over the years. And because of them, my success is not me. My success is all about my team. And that's where I see it. And I could care less if I ever win another award at any company there is. That doesn't faze me whatsoever anymore. It's all about the team. It's all about what they can accomplish and what they can do to change their lives. Because if a leader understands this business, they need to quit focusing on their own check. They need to quit focusing on their own self. And they need to start focusing on the people in their organization and helping them, because guess what? When you help them, you're okay. It will lift you up in the ranks. It will lift your check up. It will lift your income and residual income up if you just focus on helping your team be successful. This is one of the most uncommon business models in the entire world. Most businesses, if you're going to move up to the top, you have to stomp on people and step on people and use people for stepping stones. While you use them for a throw rug on your way up, you have to destroy people on your way up to get to the top in most types of corporate companies. But with network marketing, it's reverse. The more that you focus on the success of others, the greater success you will be. And you can't get jealous of people that are in your organization that are stronger than you. It's okay, because the stronger they are, the better it makes your check and makes your success. And we forget that when people are moving from corporate into this type of business. We have to help them forget the way they did it in corporate world. We have to help them forget how they did it in the old life that they used to live when they move into the field, don't we? Because you moved out of corporate into the field. It's a whole different world now, isn't it?
It really is. It really is.
It is.
A little bit of a learning curve. But
absolutely.
Actually, we're all in this together, and that's the culture. And culture is very big for me, with building the group. A culture of integrity and a culture of family, and we're all in this together, helping one another to be successful.
Well, there's some people on this call, I guarantee it, that know people, or they may be that person that feels like they're drowning. What would you tell that person, Mario? What would you tell that person that feels like they're drowning? I mean, they're down the bottom. The turbulence have pushed them to the bottom. They're just trying to survive. They're on their last breath, and they're just doing it. You know what gave me the strength to push through those rocks? Is because I was worried about my two buddies. That's what gave me the strength to push through those rocks. Is I wanted to push through and make my way to the top of that surface of the water to see if my friends were okay. That's what pushed me to the top. You see what I'm talking about here? You see?
Yeah.
That's passion, compassion, and integrity right there, if you can really put it into action. If you really want to make this business work, you have to place your attention on those around you and make them important. That's what this business is all about. Give me your take on this, Mario.
Well, absolutely. I've been there, at the very beginning, and really it's up and down, and some days are good, some days are bad. But really my best advice looking back is not to give up. And it sounds so cliche, but just pull through it. Just keep on working. Don't give up, right? And attach yourself to positivity, attach yourself to great leaders, right? Look for a system. And with all these things, you push through it and you're going to have success. And it's not to say that you're still not going to have ups and downs, because you will. But if you just keep focused and just plow through it, you're going to have success. Really.
When you're on the bottom, it's time to push off the bottom and make it to the top. That's what it's all about. Look at the bottom. If you're seeing the bottom, look at the bottom as your springboard. That's what you do. That's exactly what you do. You look at the bottom as your springboard to the top. That's what you do. One of the things I noticed the other day when I was in Korea, one of my leaders came up to me and said, we turned in over 5,000 orders of the new product packages tonight. And I thought, this is not just one product per order. This is like a package. 5,000
wow
plus orders in one night. We're talking, that's way up there. And the beauty of that is when leaders are strong enough that no matter what comes their way, they push through and make it happen. Mm-hmm. That's what leaders are all about.
Yep.
Those of you that's listening on this call, we're going to close this call. I want you to hear this. If you're going to make success and you feel like you just can't make it, you feel like you just can't go another step, you can't push through, remember, if you're looking at the bottom, make the bottom your springboard and push to the top, because I can guarantee you there's only one other choice, and that's die. You're gonna kill your business if you don't decide to go up. That's the lesson today from the Sustained Prosperity System. Thank you, Mario, for being our moderator and such a great partner with the Sustained Prosperity System. And we appreciate Tom Chenault as being our featured guest tonight on the Sustained Prosperity Call. And this is Jef Welch from Orlando, Florida, Mario Brown from Utah. And we just thank you so much for making your success greater by making yourself greater on our call tonight.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Jef. We appreciate you. Have a good night.